Soul crushing beat. Deep in the night, we come alive. The pulse of fear is kind of vibrant inside. A new sensation, come let it be. Raise us back to the past and pay our way to peace. so crushing me. Come on, get down, turn up the sound. Feel it in the chest, lay your breath out. Oral sensation, delivery. A special brand of rock and roll, new mystery. 'Cause we're wow living, wow world, living for the moment, chasing every thrill, moving to the rhythm, shuffle along, please step into the moment. Everybody's feeling our beat. Yeah, so crushing me.
What's up, fellow nerds, DPNs? Welcome back, everybody. We love having you here. We got the whole crew here. Phil has blessed us with his presence. He's on vacation. Everyone, oh man, be happy for him. Like, he's enjoying it, living it up.
I have been drinking for 5 days straight and stuff.
And it's wonderful. We're all living vicariously through him. He's just enjoying it.
I just ate a whole bunch of pizza and pasta, and I am delightful.
I'm sure he feels like the best boat anchor out there.
Boat anchor? What's that mean?
Where you just like so stuffed you don't want to move. You just a lump.
Yeah, you should just change my name to that guy who is maybe questionably here. Will that fit in the third frame thing?
I'm gonna try.
And Phil has shared some good advice with us.
Watching him fucking try to type it.
Don't eat questionable fish from your freezer. That guy.
It only took that guy.
Oh.
Hold on.
That's all right. That's all right. Oh man, that's fucking great.
Hold on. I got something better.
Uh-oh. We're on it tonight. Are we gonna scroll it?
Question mark.
That's awesome. Well, cool.
I'll get it together. I'll get my life back in shape, Coach. I promise.
Thanks for joining us, though, Phil. For real, we appreciate you being here. Yeah. So we're gonna cover quite a few PC-related stuff later in the show because we've got Intel entering the landscape again in a different way, and it could be good. I mean, it really, really could be good. Any competition in the GPU scape is good. It's good, even if it's half-ass competition. Budget cards are still a big push for high-end gaming cards. It trickles everywhere. But
oh, wow. Sorry, I just saw that. I just saw that in the little notes section.
You're good, man. You're good. Read it up. Chime in if you want. Phil's here-ish. Jeebus question mark. So if anybody has anything for him, just bear in mind that he will answer to the best of his capabilities, but he's in vacation mode, so
I'm lit as fuck is what he's trying to say.
We will be after this stream. We will all be as close to Phil's level as we can get. But
I can get there pretty quick.
Yeah. If you do it, Billy, this whole thing's going down in fire because I will be right there too.
What button do we push? What do we do with the buttons?
Buttons.
Why is the audio?
Oh boy, Billy.
Why does audio make noise?
So let's kick it off with some quick Nintendo stuff. Not a lot of development, but that Nintendo had a shareholder meeting and some investors, some board members had to ask and answer questions about Switch Pro. And Nintendo normally, when there's nothing in the in the chute. Nintendo is pretty clear. This is, we've had Nintendo for 30 something years. We know how things tend to work. They're a pretty rigid Japanese company. They don't fray off the path too much. And when they're asked about upcoming hardware, if there's something in the pipe, they get a little elusive with their answers, but they don't want to give anything away. But if there isn't, they'll just say, hey, there's nothing. So before E3, if you remember, they answered and fielded a question about Toasty, about the Switch Pro being a thing. And they said, we appreciate everybody's feedback. There is no new hardware. We need you to focus on the software. But of course, people aren't going to let that go because there's still so much info swirling around about OLED displays, new games supporting higher resolutions. And we all saw E3. There was quite a few games that looked way too good to be a Nintendo Switch game. Breath of the Wild 2, that did not look like it was on the Switch hardware. That looked nicer than the normal Breath of the Wild. So their answers to these in this investor call were open-ended. And they talked about new experiences. They talked about how the Switch life cycle is not even close to being done. And they got a little shaky in their answers because you have to think they're talking to major shareholders here. So people who require real answers. And they did not give a clear direction of no hardware, software. They're focused on the software and the dictocopters floating around. I love that animation, by the way. That was an executive walked into my office the other day when you had that flying across the screen, and he's like, "What the hell was that?" And I was like, "Ah, it's a dictocopter."
It's a helicopter. Yeah.
A what? And I'm like, "Ah, it's just a cool stream going on in the background." And he's like, "Huh, okay." And that cut that conversation short, and I was like, "Fucking sweet." So thank you, Phil. But yeah, there's a lot of theories out there, and let's get into what that kind of means. The people are talking about DLSS 2.0 running like a 720p resolution native to move it to a 4K resolution, and DLSS 2.0 can do that and do it very well, I might add. But the current Tegra processor, even this newest generation we have, it isn't capable of it. So I think this Switch Pro being 4K is too lofty. Even in docked mode, I just don't think the hardware capabilities, it's proven out there, the Tegra cannot do that. So the Switch Pro is going to have different hardware. There is a iteration of the Tegra, I can't remember the code name off the top of my head, but NVIDIA has an answer for it that works in the Switch, and that's probably what's going to be there. But you're talking a pretty good change and having to play a very delicate balance of how do we make this work with the Switch 1.0, Switch Lite, and also this new stuff? Because Nintendo's not shit canning the Switch library. They're just not. That's a stupid idea.
Totally off topic, but Keto One makes a fucking vodka spritz.
Yeah, and it's freaking good.
What? Why?
Because it can. I mean, for budget vodka, it's pretty good stuff.
Well, I mean, okay. I mean, I won't be mad at somebody for having a Keto One vodka, but they have a spritz, flavored vodka in a can.
I mean, White Claws and
I'm telling you what, the human race has come a long way on finding ways to get fucked up creatively.
Yeah, and drinking their crazy, weird malt beverages that are flavored.
As I sip my Miller Lite and judge people.
Yeah, how could you betray beer?
Hashtag not a sponsor.
But yeah, it's the Switch Pro. It's not happening this year. Nintendo could drop some shit on Twitter and flip the world on end. It's not happening. And Phil, I'm not throwing you a curveball, but we kind of talked about this pre-stream about this Game Boy cartridge adapter for your PC, and that looks pretty freaking sick.
Yeah.
So for those who are into retro games or have actual game cartridges, older game systems, like I'm talking old stuff where it saved your save data on the cartridge. There was memory, very limited amounts, but it was held in a save state by battery power.
Battery, yeah, the little coin batteries.
Yep. So those batteries have a life cycle and doesn't really give you much warning. And normally these little lithium batteries can last, like your watch can last 10, 20 plus years. But if those batteries become unstable, I'm looking at you, PS4, PS5, it bricks things, it loses all save data, and if you've got a Pokedex full of Pokemon ready to go, like the original 50 or whatever, or 150, you're going to be pretty pissed. You pick that thing up just to do some retro fun, and you're SOL, and you lost everything. So
well, and it kind of blew my mind because when you think about it, it wasn't like it was a new in order for a chip to hold any memory, it was required to have some power all the time. Where now we have like solid state flash memory, which doesn't require any power to hold the data. But that wasn't. It's not like the technology wasn't around back then. It was just too expensive, which is kind of weird to me because you could just write the save data to a chip and then just turn it off and it would still hold the memory. Like it's just written into the chip. So it's not, I don't know.
I'm not sure because I wasn't deep into, nerdy stuff back in those days. Shit just worked. Sometimes you had to blow on the cartridge, but there had to have been a cost factor. There had to have been a cost factor in there.
Sometimes I just blow on things now because I've got trauma.
Yeah. Because we don't have cartridges anymore unless you have an Xbox Series X and spend $230 on a Seagate drive to put in the back.
Right.
But yeah, this Game Boy cartridge adapter plugs in to your PC, and yes, you can use it for emulation. You can rip the game and have your entire game library saved forever. But
is this like the equivalent, like if I had like a little like PCIe card or a PCI card where I could have like a 72 pin connector and just literally mash the cartridge right on the connector and then boom, start playing?
Yes, but this is a little more complicated in the fact that it has onboard hardware to where it is like a temporary gateway, so you can pull the game in its entirety and its original
rip the fucking game.
Yes, entirely. So it's a little nicer than your average, just like I guess handshake device where you can now read it on your PC, run an emulator, and play it. What's really cool about this is all these, and our reference to batteries, all your original save data from your super old retro cartridges, you can pull it onto this device on your PC, however, and you can actually replace the batteries in these cartridges and load the whole game file back onto the cartridge like it never happened, but you keep your save data and you put a fresh lithium battery in there. So that's a great way to keep old games alive, to save that nostalgia. And there's not a lot of devices out there that really enable that. I know it's been tried, but it's kind of been a little shaky. But this one seems to be fully capable of all Game Boy, which, they're going to release an adapter for N64 and, all the other systems.
It's time to revive my RC Grand Prix. You know what? You keep talking. I'm gonna go find my Game Boy. It's right. I know where it is in the basement. I'm gonna pull it up.
Hell yeah!
I'm gonna bring it up.
Do it.
Right back.
So, it's stuff like this that really helps retro games, but also helps keep your libraries alive and keeps gaming alive in its inception. There's not a lot of stuff out there that keeps the history pure, and this device actually is really built for that. But also, if you want to rip games on and run emulators rather than download it. And this also has an official, like it can tell you if cartridges are copyrighted or pirated by any means. It can tell the certification of if game's legit. So if you're at a game con of some sort or a convention where you're buying these retro games that might be a little on the rare side and it looks and checks out fine, but you get home and realize this shit's pirated and they just threw a sticker on a cartridge that looked legit, you're kind of screwed out that money. And in retro gaming, you want to buy real stuff because it's worth money, and you don't want to spend $30 on a cartridge that is in really good shape to find out you could have downloaded it for free and you kind of got hosed. So this has an authenticator built in, and it works for all different life cycles of the Game Boy because those cartridges are very similar and same pins, all of that. So Advance, Color, Pocket, all of those games are all good. And yeah, it'd be nice, you have to carry your laptop or what have you with you to a convention, but you can check the authenticity on the fly. So that's something that really hasn't been available till now, and that's another focus of this piece of hardware. Is it's super easy, and it helps you out if you're a retro buyer because it's kind of a big deal.
Oh man,
Did you find it?
I can't believe this shit. We'll start off with that.
Oh boy, look at that.
There's spider webs coming off of me.
Light built in, magnifying glass of
This is
glory.
really gonna fuck you up.
Holy shit, look at that. It's the official one too. What?
Yeah, licensed by Nintendo. And it even has the 1-800 number on the side of the case.
It still works, by the way.
And it still works. Oh. There it is.
Oh shit, OG.
Wow.
I did accidentally leave the batteries in it.
Uh-oh.
It's actually not that bad. It's really not that bad.
Okay.
So, but it's got the original Tetris already plugged in, ready to go.
Mandatory.
What we got? Fist of the North Star.
Oh yeah. Wow. We're bringing it back, man. You got
There's
like
my second
Dr. Mario
copy,
on there.
second copy of Tetris. Then we've got All-Star Challenge basketball.
Hell yes, absolutely.
Notice these are actually in the little plastic cases they used to, the official cases. Then we've got, of course, Mario's baseball.
Nice.
This one's really gonna fuck you up.
Oh shit, Mortal Kombat. What? Fuck.
On the Game Boy.
Fuck.
Oh. This is cool. Oh no, I don't have RC Pro Am.
Oh, you do somewhere.
It's somewhere.
There's no way you don't.
But check this one out. I don't know. These came in cereal boxes at the time. See that MVP sticker? Check this out.
Dude, this is so cool. Oh, a Hunt for
On
Red
Game
October.
Boy.
Damn you, Trebek.
And then oh yeah, this one was one of my favorite. It's essentially Battleship. It's just fucking Battleship, but
Yeah.
Like open the case. You have to push the little tab down here to get the case to pop. It's not like you just peel it apart like a.
All my friends broke theirs, and I'm like, you can't press the fucking button in.
You press the button, goddamn.
Ah.
Radar Mission is essentially Battleship.
Nice.
Yep.
But this game in particular, I burned hours on road trips.
Oh, dude, I had Alleyway. That was a weird, obscure Mario game. I freaking played the shit out of Alleyway. That was fun as hell. It was just a Pong knockoff.
Yeah, it blows my mind that I still have. Oh man, and this thing is so sweet. I'll just put these two together because it is what it is. Like the way that this all came together is you would have, your Game Boy, and you'd be like, "Ooh, I'm gonna play games."
Oh, but it's a little dark. I better hook
It's
it
a
up.
little dark, so I'm just gonna put this thing on, flip the switch, and you literally had a magnified, like it took your like, 2.5 by 2.5 inch screen,
It was
and
like
it
4
turned it,
fucking inches.
turned it into a fucking like zoomed in like, I don't know, 3 by 4 inch screen.
I don't know how that didn't tear us up and make us all wear glasses from that shit.
I'm gonna pull the batteries though before I put it all away. But anyways, so yeah, it's so fucking trippy to me. Oops. There we go. Like, let's see if I can get the camera thing to do its thing. Was it like that? Yep. So essentially, this is how it would look. See if I can do this right.
Oh, sweet. Dude, they're bringing back so many memories.
And then you would have your power supply stuff. The foam is still, the original foam is still in there.
Wow.
So you would
it's actually foamy. It's not all pushed in and rotted.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
not. And the same for where the Game Boy sits. There's foam right there too.
What?
And that's the original.
It
So,
looks
yeah,
like
and
the
then-
original like Game Boy stuff foam.
Yeah,
that came and
you
stuff.
you would literally you would call your friend and you'd be like, hey, you want to play some fucking games? Be like, sweet, I'll bring my Game Boy over. And this thing, you just slide these little switches, and then fucking you just carry this thing around.
Oh my god,
That's
the little sliders aren't broken. That's
No, the
crazy.
sliders aren't broken. It's all in relatively good shape. And there's the fucking Nintendo maintenance or service number.
I wonder what happens when you call that number now.
Oh, I don't know. We should try it.
Yeah, it's still legit from what I understand.
God, man, what a blast from the past.
Yeah, that's awesome. And this is back in the day when mobile platforms like were meant to be brought to your friend's house and have
Yeah.
fun.
Well,
Boy,
yeah.
how that's a lost art.
And it was so fucking weird because like you'd both have like a couple of Game Boys and you would just be playing in the same room but totally different games. I really
Yeah.
wish I could find IRC Pro Am. That kind of disappointed me. I thought that would be in there for sure.
I'm sure you got another box full of freaking Game Boy shit that
Oh, yeah.
because you probably
There's-
pulled it out to play it and then like set it to the side to for
Look,
whatever
man, I had to
reason.
walk through a lot of spider webs just to grab that. So, but yes, there's a box down there of all my old school shit. Jeff, I should show you sometime the next time you're over or whatever. I
Oh.
should show you the little cave of Jesus. What the fuck is all this shit from the
Oh,
years
yeah.
that gone by?
I cannot wait, dude. That's a museum I can get around right there.
Dude,
If we were in Japan-
I still have the original Zenith Space Command 2 television, CRT color television. You turn this thing on and you have to wait like, I don't know, about 3 minutes for the screen to warm up.
It starts doing that flicker thing.
No,
and
it
then
doesn't flicker.
eventually
It slowly turns into a picture.
it's small and then super dark and then lightens up.
and then it becomes full color. It still freaking works. It
Oh,
blows
yeah.
my mind.
That's back when shit was built to work, no matter how nasty.
Zenith Space Command 2. Look that
Wow.
up and just be like, damn, that's old.
Hey, but you'd have the best response time.
Yeah. The
Well, yeah,
CRT.
once it warms up, yeah.
Well, yeah, yeah.
But that Zenith, that TV, that was the original first color TV that I played Mario Bros. Like when we woke up one Christmas morning, there was a Nintendo, there was Super Mario Brothers, and there was that TV. And I still have the TV that I first played the first Nintendo game I ever played on a Nintendo system with that TV, and I have that TV.
Boom. Nostalgia at its finest.
Dude, and
Love it.
the fact that it still works when you turn it on and just once you get the inputs and set it to channel 3 and you watch it warm up and burn in a little bit, it's fascinating that we got away with that.
Yeah. Dude, I gamed. I remember in the early 2000s, I was still lugging around a CRT monitor for gaming because I love my Samsung flat panel CRT. That
Yeah.
thing was heavy as shit, but 4K resolution, bitch. I could do like 6 or 8K way back in the day because it's like, oh, you don't want to see shit because it's so tiny. Sure.
Old,
Fucking go for it.
old reliable is what I was.
Yeah, and yeah, millisecond response times. Everyone had their little LCD panel that was like 8 millisecond response times, and I'm over here with the CRT just chugging through power out the wall. It freaking flickered the lights in the gym where we would rent for LAN parties every time I fired that bitch up. It was so overkill.
Oh man, I can already smell the basement.
Oh yeah, Yeah, it
That must be
smelled like
that musty basement smell.
sweat and shame and
Yeah.
must.
Sweat and shame and video games.
Yeah, there's a lot of snacks though. So when the pizza showed up, it was all right.
Oh man.
So Phil, we have a new IP that's been taken online, and somebody happened to uncover this, and it's called the Ghost of Ikishima domain. It was registered, and that's basically going to be the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah. So.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's gonna get real. PlayStation is not messing around. They want some major 22 titles. So for them to take the domain, usually that's probably past the halfway point. They've kept it on, a lid on everything. So I cannot wait for this to come to fruition. And Ghost of Tsushima, for sure, I believe, is coming out on PC. If it isn't, I'll be surprised. It just makes sense. Horizon Zero, Uncharted's coming. Like, come on, it's happening.
Ooh. So Billy, I sent you a picture in the Discord.
And I guess the Ikishima is another island. Iki Island. And it's situated between South Korea and sorry about my enunciation, the Fukuoka Prefecture. And as a part of the Tsushima Strait, Ikishima 2. So, it suffered under the weight of the Mongol invasion in 1274. So all of this lines up. This is why it's like, rather than just like a hypothetical, this is probably a reality here, and definitely follows a timeline. The islands line up. It's same, era.
That's it. That's the TV. That's an image of something that resembles the TV that I'm talking about. And then, Pyro, the remote is fucking precious. This was back in the days where it was visually appealing to have an attractive remote control. Well, look at that gold and silver outline.
What?
Look at all those buttons of simplicity. You had volume, channel, a button for enter, whatever channel you put in, and then you had off, on, and then a little switchy switch. I forget what the switchy switch was for. I could run down to my basement and pull the remote real quick and show you. You know what? Why don't I just do that? Hold on a second.
Just gonna run off that pizza. So, horror developer Bloober Team partners with Konami. This is big freaking news, guys, because now we have the first Konami and the first actual confirmation that there's a Silent Hill in production right now. In fact, there's 2. So, I can't remember the guy's name. It always freaking escapes me, and Phil's always there to help me. But the Silent Hill creator, Metal Gear Solid, Death Stranding, Kojima. Thank you. Hideo Kojima has actually went out on record and said there's 2 Silent Hill series games in development right now, and potentially more, is what he said. So with the Bloober Team, this developer recently just released Medium. So a lot of people haven't heard of Bloober. Oh my God, look at that freaking thing. That is a Zenith remote, baby.
And it's
my first TV.
This one does the remote recall. So like, let's say you put in channel 12 and you're done watching channel 12, so you put in channel 20, but then you're like, oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. You can actually just press this key twice and it would go back to the previous channel.
Oh my God.
And the remote says computer space command on it.
Oh shit. Dude, that remote is sexy.
And it took one 9-volt battery.
9-volt. That thing's tiny in that box. Hell yeah. Dude, that 9-volt probably lasted a minute too.
Oh yeah.
Why we went to AA batteries is just a cost scheme.
So it had the auto off, auto on. So they called it the programmer. That's what the buttons down here did, and then mute, just like a very simple, right where you need it, mute button. Like,
Yep.
how can we fuck that up? Years later, we have mute buttons hidden all over the fucking
Yep,
place.
you can never find it, so you got to hit the volume down and hold on. Give me a second. The freaking mute button, bam, right there.
It needs a little love. It doesn't look so hot, but yeah, still got it.
Dude, that's awesome.
This was the original remote to the TV that I used to have to hit 3, enter, and then turn the Nintendo on.
And guess what? The buttons are not wore off. It's like they knew how to make good shit back in the day, and now buttons wear immediately.
Just putting my rubbing my finger on it, it actually cleaned the buttons up even more.
Look at that. That's crazy.
Fucking insane, dude. And they're rubber buttons too, like plasticky rubber.
And I bet you the membrane or spring mechanism on that bitch, because it's so old, it works perfectly, and you can feel the detents.
You can feel it.
That's crazy. Why we produce such shit and people just put up with it is beyond me, man. I mean, I have a really nice Logitech Harmony remote set up for everything downstairs, touch screen and all that shit, and the buttons suck. The buttons are garbage on it, just like every other remote.
I just went through a lot of spider webs to grab that.
Had to get deeper in the cave.
Yeah, I had to crawl back into the corner that shall not be named.
Phil's busting out some dungeon crawling, man, and just to find some cool shit for us on the stream. But yeah, Silent Hill is official. There's 2 Silent Hills in the works. And Kojima said there is Metal Gear Solid coming. So the Bloober team is actually going to work on another Silent Hill and Metal Gear in the franchise. So if you're making Medium, it looked great. From what I've seen and read, it plays pretty damn good. People are pretty impressed. So for them to team up with Konami officially like that, I think we're in good shape. Silent Hill needs games, and I think we're headed in multiples. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Oh man, so Phil Spencer this week on Xbox. Holy crap.
What the fuck does Phil have to say?
Oh my god. Phil basically says in way more words that if Halo Infinite blows, don't worry about it, because we're going to still keep making great Halo games, and Halo is a very important piece of our Xbox universe, Microsoft universe, and Halo Infinite's not going to make or break us for the franchise. So that is very calculated and actually really smart. He basically chopped the nuts off the hype for Halo Infinite. So now it can actually be a decent game, and people might receive it well, rather than, oh my god, Halo Infinite's the next Cyberpunk, and it's going to be the greatest thing ever, and then it's just okay, so everybody shits all over Halo Infinite. What if it's just okay? I'll take an okay Halo game, but
well, that's arguably that's what Halo fans have been doing for years.
Realistically, I love combat.
Ever since Bungie left the series, they should have let it go.
Yeah, I mean, now the multiplayer
Destiny. So okay, sorry, I didn't mean to
do it.
So when Bungie left Microsoft and created Destiny, and then Destiny 2, arguably when those games came out, everybody was stoked for them, but nobody plays Destiny anymore either. It's kind of like you had a good run, you should have left it where it was and moved on and created something different. But no, they're just like Halo.
It's too important not to. And of course, the originators who made Combat Evolved was way ahead of its time, by the way. Storyline, extremely way out there good, way ahead of its time.
That I don't disagree with.
Yeah, and the Flood, the character development, all of it was so freaking good. You could tell they poured their heart and souls into that game for many years to make it.
There's nerds in bathrooms doing the
but really well. I saw that video. I'm like, holy shit, that is like dead on.
Like, I wish I went to that cool school,
yeah, just like in the gymnasium.
Hear like, everybody call back too. They were like,
I've also seen ones where like the people were sitting there and it's like, this is the gamers national, please stand for the gamers national anthem, and people were like, huh? And then they hear it, and then you just see everybody just pop up like,
Yeah.
That's so awesome. But that's what it's all about, man. Halo has a special place in all our hearts. And I mean, I was never an Xbox fanboy. And when I owned the Xbox, I bought the next Halo and it sucked. But dude, I played Halo Combat Evolved on PC and I love that game. In fact, I'm going to dig it up and I'm probably going to re-download it and play that bitch again. That game was so much fun. I watch gamers react to Halo Combat Evolved for the first time and they, stream it. And it's kind of a big joke because they're like, when did Halo turn into a horror game? And I'm like, that's exactly what's fucking lost about Halo is it was so freaking good and deep. And now it's just like cash grab, bullshit. Shut down.
Quake 3 Arena, Quake 3 Arena, Quake 3.
Yeah,
Unreal Tournament,
$70.
Unreal Tournament, Unreal Tournament.
Hey, Unreal Tournament's all right.
No,
But, yeah,
but
it was
there's like 12. There's like I don't know. I don't remember how
They
many.
should have stopped a long time
Yeah,
ago.
it's like just make one game. Don't make an Unreal Tournament 2. Don't make an Unreal Tournament Final Fight Edition Ultimate.
Yep.
Don't make this whole idea of Halo Infinite. Like you done fucked up. When the developer left, you should have left it where it was and just not. It just feels forced.
Yeah, I think the genre of us as gamers waiting 4 to 5 years for the next installment of the best game we love, I think it's appropriate. It's a long fucking time. I get that. People don't understand that now. But if I had to wait 4 years for a game to be another installment of something truly mind-blowing and great again, I'm fine with that. I don't need something every year that's going to suck and get worse and worse and worse, like Phil said.
In that vein, let me say this. So Doom went through its iterations, right? There was Doom 1, Doom 2, Doom 3.
There was a Doom 3.
They call it Final Doom.
I think it was just Doom.
And then, well, it was from Final. No, there was Doom 1, Doom 2, Final Doom, because it was basically like a combination of the first and second game and then the mod.
Gotcha. Yeah, yep.
And then there was like they did the official Doom 3, which was like a shitty horror aliens-esque third person perspective weird thing.
Okay.
Well,
I don't remember that one.
No, it was first person, but it just had shitty flashlights and dark corridors and it was very scripted on rails kind of thing.
Yeah, the one that Dwayne Johnson made a movie out of.
Yes, thank you. And then
that game sucked until it went to hell. Then
there was Doom 4. And then it died. Like Doom went away for a very long time. They ran
it into the ground, and then years
2016
later,
Doom came out, and I remember at the it wasn't E3, was it? It was one of the game, like one of the
showcase or whatever.
New game showcase things, and I remember seeing that first scene where you pop up out of the bed and you're thinking, okay, it's a zombie game. Nobody cares.
You
and then you see that helmet
over you.
And then you see that helmet and he just kind of wipes the glass on the helmet and then puts it on. I felt my entire body tingle. I was like, oh my God, it's fucking happening. It's fucking happening. It's fucking happening. It's fucking happening. And then
the gameplay they showed were like, holy
the first
shit.
thing you see is when you grab that freaking zombie skull and it's like and then
it's like tearing it open, blood everywhere, and there's like chainsaw, and you're like, fuck,
it's like, dude, this is everything it should have been and more.
Yeah, and the graphics look great.
Because they even tried to revive Wolfenstein. Like, what? Come on,
I know. I paid money for that pile of shit. I'm super pissed about it.
I'm sorry for you. I didn't spend a dime on it. I watched it when it came out, and I was really tempted to pick it up. But then I saw people making remarks about how it just doesn't feel like the original game.
No, it fucking sucks.
But Doom 2016,
Doom came back.
Came back hard. Doom Eternal, still a great game. Added new elements, that's neat. Whatever. But that 2016 Doom remake just kind of
rare, Phil.
It transcended the previous games.
That's what I don't understand is to transcend, to make a next generation. That's a generational leap. That's wow. I'm taken back, but I'm also super excited because this looks so crazy that I'm all in. Like it's rare for that to happen. I want that in a Metal Gear Solid series for damn sure. I want that in Silent Hill. I want that. And if it takes years to do, that's cool, because I want it to be nothing. I want it to harken back historically to what I loved, but it doesn't have to lean on that. It doesn't also have to say that's cool and shitty. Let's make a new version of Call of Duty and slap Doom on it. Like, no. Let's make something real and new. And
it would be cool. It would be cool to see a reimagining of the original Metal Gear Solid on Nintendo.
Freaking A. Like,
totally remapped in 3D.
Yeah. Hide under boxes. Look at perimeter cameras, so you know,
check the backs of trucks.
Hell yes. And you could do that in a freaking 4K Crisis looking game, and it's all about the gameplay and how you can be stealthy and melee people in the back. Like that's
and the NES still had story on it, although the text translation was not ideal. But
that's okay. We'll give it a pass. We kind of knew it was going on.
We can fix that. We can fix that in a future game. We're smarter now. We've got the
okay
technology.
if you patch it with better translation. That's fine. Just as long as the gameplay's good. Yeah.
I just think it would be cool to see. Like, I remember when I it would just be cool to see the original Nintendo Metal Gear Solid, because everybody knows the iconic first scene when you play that game. And it would just be so cool to see that rendered in a 3D environment where, like, you can literally transmit, like, in your mind, you can see the 2D top-down perspective, but here you are in first person actually looking at it in that first iconic stage scene. You know, like, that would be
how the camera could pan down on you and then, like, you go first person.
No, you would be, you would just be in first person, and then there you are. You're in that. You're in that 3D world that it was once just these shitty little bits of graphics. It's like, now I understand the dogs, man. The dogs freak me out.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of like old Resident Evil and Silent Hill, for that matter, where it was pixelated and creepy and scary originally, but if you remastered that to something truly terrifying with the original talent back then, I don't know if you could play some of these games. They would be freaking scary. Pyramid Head, like, if that was highly rendered, holy shit.
Dude, I just was thinking of Pyramid Head and was it Zombies Ate My Name? No. Fester's Quest.
Okay, yeah.
Just to see that one rendered in 3D with better weapons, obviously, because that fucking rotating weapon, I don't know who signed off on that one, but whoever you are, you done fucked up. That game was infuriating, but I couldn't stop playing it because I loved Fester from Addams Family.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Addams Family OG. So good. So anyways, Phil Spencer is downplaying the game. And he's smart to do that, because we know it's going to be a best case scenario, it's going to be a steamy pile of garbage. And worst case, it's going to be a hot pile of garbage. So if Halo is okay, I think Phil's setting it up right and just knocking down all the hype right now. They're confident it's going to happen. It's going to play well. If it plays like the original Halo or the original couple Halos, I'm fine with that. And I might even check it out. But we'll see. I'm going to get Game Pass, so I'll probably check it out. I just hope it plays okay. I don't care about the graphics being the latest, greatest, best thing ever. Just let's focus more on the damn mechanics and how it plays.
Okay, launch title party, people. Honestly, I'm glad Phil did do that, because I mean, he doesn't need any more anger at his self. And I honestly, when we saw the initial announcement for Halo Infinite, we both were like, "What? Like, what? this is on a next generation console? What the balls, man? Like, what are you doing with your extra 2 teraflops?" I asked.
Yeah, you. Like, I see a series slash, not an X, you know.
And then you know, they're finally getting to the point. Like, how long ago was the Series X released? Jesus Christ, time flies. Like 2 years, almost 2 years now.
No, it's December 8th last year.
Okay, so we're not quite up on a year.
Yeah,
that was supposed to be.
We're 7 months in.
Hold on. I'm doing a quick Googling. Xbox Series X launch games. All titles confirmed so far. Halo Infinite was supposed to be a launch title. Let's see. What else did they have? Oh, yeah. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We know how that went. Watch Dogs Legion. We know how that went. Dirt 5. Okay.
Yeah.
Yakuza 7. And keep in mind that all of these launch titles for Xbox Series X were also available on PC day one.
These weren't launch titles.
No, there were games that they were going to release no matter what. They were just like, oh, but you can play these on your.
Yeah,
on
by
your
the way, put this decent game on the Series X. Except for Dirt 5, screw you. That game sucks.
And I totally forgot about this one, but yeah, Tetris Effect connected.
Oh shit!
Just an absolute.
We laughed so
bomb.
hard at that.
Yeah, just an absolute bomb.
What an exclusive!
Here, I just whipped out my 2 copies on Game Boy. Way better, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking A. But yeah, no, Phil Spencer takes a lot of heat because Phil Spencer, he was the guy that was heading up on Sony when the PS3 launched.
Mm-hmm.
And after the PS3 launch, he left, and everybody was like, boo, fuck you, Phil. Because he essentially switched to the dark side if you're a PlayStation fanboy. So this guy doesn't need any more flack, and it's interesting that he finally comes out and says, hey, don't expect amazing, but it's going to be fine.
The one thing I do like about Phil Spencer is he's pretty real. He doesn't oversell a lot of things, in my opinion.
Oh, shit. He oversells all the time.
Nah. Mark Cerny is the underhyped guy that's like, here's what it is.
Mark Cerny is a nerd's hero.
Yes.
And we shall not blaspheme his name.
Oh, yeah. How's that M.2 capabilities coming on that PS5? Yeah, you motherfucker.
Phil also was the guy that announced PlayStation Home, promising it to be the next, glorious social whatever.
It was
community.
for a few weeks.
Yeah. I don't think it made it a week before they were starting to nerf it. They were like, oh shit, you mean people on the internet say bad words?
Yeah, they're mean. Uh-oh.
Like, who in the development cycle didn't step back and say, wait. We're going to give them the ability to talk to each other?
Yeah, the internet was uncensored back then. And then they're like, shit, we need to censor all of this.
Have you guys ever played Halo online?
Yeah, it's
I'm pretty sure everybody had a gay mom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and we were all doing her, apparently.
And everybody was doing her.
Oh, my God.
And they're like, okay, we're gonna hand this over. We're going to give you voice capabilities on the internet with a bunch of fucking mindless little
the 8-year-old is gonna ruin your life.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
You'll get over it.
And then they're like, "Oh shit! Hold on. Take away the chat. It's no good. We got a problem, guys. Everybody's mom's gay, and they're all fucking her."
Yeah, we need to address that quickly. It's getting out of hand. Oh man, Phil, what do you think about the PS Plus, man? That's coming in July. Holy shit, that's actually pretty good.
I want to turn I have my PlayStation 4 still sitting on my desk. It's hooked up to my rig, so I can turn it on whenever I want. And I still have not turned it on since I think the last thing I did is I hooked up with a buddy of mine to play a couple rounds of Call of Duty, but it was they were doing the shipment map 24/7. Which is basically just gun and die.
Yep.
And that was the last time I touched it. And gosh, I don't know. That had to have been in January.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I saw that one.
It's been a long time. So but I like what they're doing, what they're coming out with on the PS Plus. The games that are coming out, but I need to turn my PlayStation on and check it out.
Make sure that CMOS battery hasn't puffed.
Yeah, make sure that it remembers what day it is.
Yeah, because it'll not play anything if that battery goes to shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna be staring at some updates too, for real.
Oh yeah, no.
Every time I turn mine on, it's like, hey, you're gonna update for the next 30 minutes, and it's like, well, that blows.
Well, I do leave it on, so it does auto update for like firmware and stuff like that. So it does the download in the background thing.
Like so it's a quick restart.
Yeah, usually it's like big game patches like freaking Call of Duty that get me hosed. But yeah, no, I was totally stoked to see that Uncharted: The Lost Legacy was coming out for PS Plus. I mean, it's really cool that Uncharted is around. I like it.
Yeah. And I know that for the Uncharted fanboys, including me, was not the best, but it was beautiful. It played really well. Storyline, the storyline was okay compared to others on other Uncharted's. Like, I'm just comparing this. This was more of a add-on side quest Uncharted, but I loved it, and a little progressive. I'll put it out there. It's a little progressive. Even Naughty Dog had some internal stuff floating around, making fun of the characters and how they maybe had a secret fling in the background. Like, aside from that crap, yeah, Naughty Dog, that's definitely a shoot at you. The Lost Legacy looked beautiful, played great, had some good puzzles, and I've played through a few times just because it's another Uncharted game. A Thief's End, dude, I've played that so many times and I still love it.
Dude, A Thief's End was
freaking love that game.
Every time. So when I was playing the Uncharted series a lot, A Thief's End was one of the games that I played and then immediately went back and played the first game.
Yeah.
Like I was like, hold on. Like, and I would play the first game and then I'd play A Thief's End and I'd be like, oh man, it's so good. It's so good.
Dude, my favorite, I don't know why, but my favorite is the mansion. When you're dealing with all the thugs and mafia guys.
You got to do a little bit of sneakiness, but you could also be a little loud.
I love the sneaking through the grass and meleeing people, and the ray tracing on that game looks so good, and I think that's why I like it so much.
Well, pre-generated ray tracing, but yeah,
right. The shimmery, watery reflectiveness and not ray tracing. But yeah, it's a good looking game. It is
a good looking game for sure. And
especially so cool.
I especially like the way the developers went out of the way to accent her butt.
Good touch. Good touch.
God damn it. My brother just sent me something that's just wrecking my life right now.
Okay, we'll move on. So the pool is dated for me.
Some ideal clean and pristine table that you think exists.
Love it.
Oh shit.
I was like, man, that scratches my soul strings. He's like, yeah, I figured that hit a nerve. Anyway, moving on.
So PlayStation is pulling a Microsoft move and acquired a studio, House Marquee, and there's another one coming that got leaked out of Japan, but I'm not going to spoil it because it's not super official yet. But the Blue Box studio is probably getting acquired as well, and that's the one that everyone was been like mass hysteria trying to figure out what Silent Hill game they're making, and those guys are the expert internet trolls, and they finally got called up. And yeah, so Blue Box and House Marquee Studios are being acquired, and it's a good move. Sony needs more exclusives. Xbox is kind of running the show.
I have a feeling that Sony is kind of taking a back seat right now on exclusives. We do have our Ratchet and Clank and stuff, but I think Sony's seeing that Microsoft buying up all these studios and doing all this other stuff.
Yeah, they can't keep up. I mean, this day and age is tough to make a damn good exclusive.
I think the only reason Microsoft was able to, well, I mean, obviously, besides the $7.5 billion, whatever, Bethesda fucked up with Fallout 76, and I think Sony was like, you know what? If this is their attitude and how they want to do it, we don't want them.
We're out.
And I think that's in my head.
That was the perfect storm. Yeah,
they were just like, okay, yeah, fine. And then so Microsoft gets them. They start doing their own little like debut of buying up studios, and Sony's just like, you know what, we're just going to take a back seat, but we'll work with you on some things, because we can't afford to go totally in the hole with nothing.
Yeah, because Sony doesn't have the purchasing power that Microsoft has, not by a long shot.
Dude,
but Sony had the chance to nab some studios.
Or at least enforce better development. I don't know. It kind of turned into a PR nightmare. Remember back in, when the PS2 came out, even the PS3, really, Sony was a monster when it came to exclusives.
Ruthless. They even had commercials making fun of Nintendo and Xbox.
Uncharted, Ratchet and Clank. There was the Legacy of Kain series
Crash
that never came out until
Bandicoot.
much later. There was all kinds of
Splinter
stuff.
Cell.
And then there was Xbox. Well, what's Xbox got? Oh, Halo. Mad Max or Max Payne.
The Max Payne.
That was on the 360, I think, when it came out. Max Payne.
I believe so.
And then Hitman, right? That was like their three, like, ooh, like this. But Sony just had
And they actually
wall to wall, like exclusives only on PlayStation. I was like, you don't get God of War, like you can't play God of War on the Xbox, and you still can't.
Nope.
And it's just, I don't know. And then now we've transitioned into this period where it's just like, oh well, I can still get God of War, the new God of War on PC, right? Nope, can't do that. Right?
Yeah.
The new God of War is not on PC.
No, not yet. It's being rumored, I believe.
So there's like these select IPs that Sony has, but it's not Bethesda, right? So the next Fallout or Elder Scrolls or Doom
or whatever. Yeah. ZeniMax, id, Bethesda, all of that is now heavily in question of support because Microsoft has the money and the power. They could flip the switch and say, you know what, we're not going to support any of that shit from Sony.
Yeah.
And then now what do you have? The teeter-totter effect has moved.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's not a lot of reasons to buy a $500 PS5 when you only have like 3 to 5 games that are truly worth getting for the PS5.
Right.
That's a tough thing for me to say because obviously Sony's always had a special place in my heart, even since the PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4.
I was just pointing out the fact that that Sony has lost a little bit of its clout when it comes to exclusives, letting Microsoft take over. There was even the talk. I didn't see anything else about it, but Microsoft and Sony were agreeing to work together in a partnership of some kind.
Yeah, and that could have been a few different things. A lot of people theorized it was Game Pass, and it's not. I think Microsoft would do a Switch mobile version of Game Pass 10 times before they would work with Sony on Game Pass. Because they're trying to literally pull everything away from Sony to let you just look at the Game Pass library, PC, and Xbox, and that's it. And they're doing a damn good job of it. So we'll see. We'll see what the future brings, but Sony better be shitting some golden eggs here pretty damn soon. Because it's kind of tough. That new God of War Ragnarok better be awesome. If it halfway sucks, that's not going to go well.
What I really hope doesn't happen is have it be a rewash of the previous God of War.
Same here. I'm super worried about it.
I appreciate them bouncing into Norse mythology, but I really hope that they change up the mechanics.
And
just
I think
to make
that's
it.
the last thing they're going to do, man.
I know it's wishful thinking, but
Yeah, they're known for what they have now, and
but they fucked it up with the last one. God of War was always a hack and slash. It always was a hack and slash. And they turned it into a much more complicated system of leveling and just
yeah, I hate
tons
it.
of crap you didn't need.
That's what I felt about Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider used to be so really just dungeon-esque, and you went to your next objective and you had to follow and solve puzzles, but there was like a main storyline. And now when I buy Tomb Raider, it's like there's just shit going on everywhere. It's like fucking Assassin's Creed. It's annoying as hell.
Yeah. I don't like the idea that I just go somewhere and all of a sudden I see exclamation points above a bunch of heads. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to everybody.
Yeah, I
wanna play a
want to
game.
grind this out. I kind of want to play through it and enjoy it first.
Well, I mean, I don't play video games to talk to characters in the game. I don't. I want a good
sequence
story.
is one thing, but to do that shit every few minutes is horrible. It's horrible.
I have found since I started streaming games that the most annoying games are the ones that have so much dialogue to click through. And it makes sense if it involves a very detailed story, only if it's interesting enough. And
or if it's calculated. And I'm like, Undertale was a good example. There's a lot of dialogue, but it's very calculated dialogue. There was a little bit of overuse, but it did all right.
It takes me back to the days when I would play like Final Fantasy
Or
and
Zelda.
Chrono Trigger. Just tons of dialogue that you're just like, okay, let me go. Come on, let's keep going. But Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy actually had good dialogue involved. So you kind of spent time reading it. But like if you imagine reading all that dialogue out loud to explain that to somebody who can't see. And it's a lot of fucking reading, man.
That's a chore. So just to bring it back real quick, House Marquee and Blue Box coming up. Blue Box is like the question mark. We'll see what it brings. We're going to take a quick break and head into some PC bombshells because PC is like sizzling hot right now. And we got some good stuff for you guys.
Jeff's got to poop. We'll be right back.
Sizzling hot.
Sizzling.
Ooh, the wings are fighting the pot pie.
In Bainbridge Town, in the county town, one morning last July, from a boring green came a sweet Colleen, and she smiled as she passed me by. She looked so sweet from her two bare feet to the sheen of her nut brown hair. Such a coaxing out, sure I shook myself for to see I was really there. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the fair Colleen that I met at the county down. As a young wood sped, sure I scratched my head and I looked with a feeling rare. And it says I to the passerbys, a maid with the nut brown hair. He smiled at me and he says he, that the timber violets brown. Young Rosie McCann from the banks of the Bank, she's the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the fair Colleen that I met at the county down. In my Sunday clothes, with my shoes shone bright and my hat cocked right for a smile from my nut brown rose. No pipe I'll smoke, no horse I'll yoke, and my blouse was a rust-colored brown. Till a smiling bride by my own fireside sits the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the fair Colleen that I met at the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the fair Colleen that I met at the county down.
Listen, none of us may live to see the day it all ends. It's not enough.
Spinning colors, paint a picture not so easy on the eyes. Let's give it one more try, all on another, just to make it through the night. Tell me everything will be alright. Only lonely, alone tonight, telling secrets they held inside.
misdirection, telling me no lies. I can't decide what it takes to die, and it seems that things have changed. Yeah. Now my world is not so dark and gray. Only the lonely alone tonight, telling secrets they held inside. Face it, your moment is long since died, but I'll go on forever. Take what you wanted from me, now you're going to leave again. It's over forevermore. Just what you wanted to see, rip the heart out of me again. It's lying on the floor. Memories only as good as your character was back then. If you're going, then please just take my hand. Then take my hand. Then take my hand. Then take my hand. Take what you wanted from me. Now you're going to leave again. It's over forevermore. Just what you wanted to see, rip the heart out of me again. It's lying on the floor. Take what you wanted from me. Now you're going to leave again. It's over forevermore. Just what you wanted to see, rip the heart out of me again. It's lying on the floor.
Oh man, we were talking, reminiscing about our retro past of you. Just can you all imagine your first time if you're in your 20s and 30s and up from there?
This is
Yeah, like what
this is
Phil
how we
had.
got. This is how it all
Oh.
started.
Just a heartthrob over here, man. You remember walking into an arcade as a kid and just the sensation of all the lights. I mean, I assume this is what gambling addicts feel when they walk into a casino. It's just like, my people.
Every
You know,
time I hear the
so
ding
good.
ding 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 ding, I'm like, oh, I know that noise.
Your heart flutters and you're like, I gotta fucking play some games. And then people are talking shit at the Mortal Kombat machine. You're like, oh, I'm gonna watch that for 30 minutes because it's gonna get real.
Dude, my favorite thing was to sit in the back. Well, I mean, I'd like what we were talking about earlier. I'd pop my 50 cents in, I'd lose the first round, but then I would stand back and just watch people freaking go round after round after round. Somebody would be running the machine, fists started flying because they're just like, you fucker, like you would just see people get pissed off and punch each other, and it was cool. It wasn't like, oh my god, you assaulted me and call the cops. It's like, no, that's
It's
like, hey,
you gonna take that pussy? Like,
Yeah,
it's all the
exactly.
stuff back in the day that was so much fun, and it was all in good fun. Like, nobody actually got their teeth kicked in, but it was like you saw
Mostly,
you saw grown men have it out over a video game, and it as a kid, I was like, oh, this is the coolest shit ever.
Dragon's Lair was the fight starter. Dragon's Lair was a
freaking
waste of
badass.
money, and I knew better.
Yeah,
I knew better than to
I
play that
didn't.
game.
I didn't.
Pole position for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, pole position. Yeah, Cruising USA always got me. I freaking love Cruising USA, but it
Cruising
was
USA.
never that much fun. It always just ate your quarters.
What was the motorcycle game that actually you sat? Actually,
you leaned into?
Yeah, you
I can't
actually had to
remember
sit on
that
the bike and lean on
freaking
it.
game. Chad, help us out. Frank,
It
help
was
us
like
out.
you would. I remember it being way expensive. Like I would always
Moto
have to dodge
GX.
it.
There it is.
What was it?
Moto
GX. Yeah,
Yep. Yep. Good call. Yeah,
And
dude.
it was
that
like
thing-
I don't know. It was like $1 or $2 just to play
It was
around.
expensive.
It was really expensive. $1 or $2 back in that time was not
a
easy
lot.
to let go of.
Yeah, because Mortal Kombat was 25, 50
It was like
cents.
50 cents. I think
Yeah,
Mortal Kombat
and-
was like 50 cents.
But those Moto GX levels only lasted like 2-3 minutes, and you could be on Mortal Kombat for 10 plus.
If you were good, you could be on that for hours. There was this guy, I watched him take the first player controller, and I was in that arcade for, I don't know, good solid 6 to 8 hours. That dude never got beat. Like, he was playing the game, he was doing arcade style. Some dickhead would come up and be like, oh, yeah, you think you're really good? Well, I'm going to challenge you. He'd annihilate them and go back to the arcade.
And it's just a
But
challenge.
he would just train
coming
roll
up.
everybody. Like the line, he got people so upset. A line started forming. Like there would be people like, "No, I'm next. I'm next. I got this guy next." This guy did not skip a beat. He would stare at the screen. He'd play the game. He might have maybe looked over and said, "Hey," but he was in a zone. And I
Yeah.
very, very
Full
specifically
period.
remember walking up, putting in my 50 cents, and I'm like, "Can you please go easy on me?" So this is what he did.
Uh-huh.
He allowed me to get the first round. He let me get a flawless victory. And I'm thinking, oh, I figured some shit out. Yeah, like
Ooh,
I know
this
what I'm
guy.
doing.
A fucking hustler.
So the second round, he gets a flawless victory. And I'm just like, oh,
Oh, okay.
shit. And so
You're like, I think I know how this movie goes.
the third round, he lets me get within an inch of his life to beat him. All
And
I
it's
had to
just
do was
combo,
get
combo,
one
combo,
punch.
combo, combo.
One freaking punch. I could have had him. He just annihilated me.
Hey, but that was so worth it because
He
he
was
did go
playing with
easy on you, and
And-
you had a good time.
And I remember looking over at him, and he had that smug little smile on his face
like, you
because he
feel
knew
better?
he was controlling the thing the entire time.
Oh, that's so badass. Yeah, those guys were, I called them machines because you'd walk up, they'd be all business. And just like, they wouldn't even be butt mashed and be like, doop, 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 and you're done.
Yeah.
Freaking KO'd. And you're like, how the hell did that just happen?
Right?
Oh, that's so
They
bad.
had this 4D game that had fans and even smells. It was a zombie game, like $5 a pull. It was vicious. It was in 3D and just awesome. Hater of gnomes. What game? 4D? As in time dimensions?
I think
Anyways,
that was-
speaking
yeah.
of time, my one of my favorite arcade games was always the Time Cop, or not Time
Oh.
Cop.
Oh, shit, Area 51?
Yeah, I like Area 51, but it was the other one. But yes, like that.
It wasn't Time Splitters or anything. I can't remember.
They even released like a console version of it
Yeah,
where you got your
they
own little
did.
gun or whatever.
Wasn't cool.
I can't remember what it was, but those were my go-tos. If I wasn't doing like anything for tickets, I would always go to the shooters.
Yeah, shooters always were there, and
It's like a
always
shooter
fun.
on rails, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Area 51 was a big one. In fact, every time I see an Area 51 machine, I
got to.
gotta play it.
Yeah.
Like,
I have no control. I'm like, shit, I don't even carry cash anymore. Where's
I
an
know
ATM?
I'm not gonna get very far because I haven't played it in a while. But damn, it's gonna be fun.
And it was such a challenge to your masculinity if you were
Time
like,
crisis.
time crisis.
It
Thank
just
you.
popped in,
Damn it.
yeah.
Ah. Yeah, for sure. So let's head to some PC stuff because we're reminiscing and we'll continue to throughout. EVGA dumped a bombshell today that they're going to make Ryzen motherboards. And they haven't said it, but they did the Ryzen circular animation, and that's big. EVGA boards, for those who don't know, EVGA usually doesn't make like the blistering edge of specs and
They're good
motherboard.
mid-range suppliers. Yeah,
They're like a mid to high mid range. But
I wouldn't
bulletproof.
I wouldn't skip EVGA on a graphics card. Like I typically would look at EVGA or ASUS. Like if I'm looking for a mid-grade graphics card, those are
Yeah,
usually the two
they're
brands
always
I go
rock
over.
solid. That's the beauty of the EVGA motherboards, and I've messed with a couple of them. Their BIOS is always the nicest one to navigate. It's usually really well put together, but yeah, the features on the motherboard are good, but I wouldn't call it like an Asus killer. But EVGA is damn good stuff for the money, and they usually don't charge a arm and a leg for their motherboards. They started to in the last few years, but I think when they're headed into Ryzen now, I think they're probably going to be a high mid-range board for mid-range price, because Asus recently has kind of lowered the cost of motherboards. So instead of like $450 for a Crossfire Hero 8, they're looking at the 380 mark. If you find them on sale, and that's a damn good motherboard for the money.
Yeah,
damn good motherboard for the money.
I've typically, Jeff, I could show you sometime when you come over. I've got some EVGA cards, EVGA boards that still work. They're 100% functional, and they're solid things. Hater of gnomes, MSI. I love my MSI cards, dude. MSI is waiting for a dumpster fire to happen. I mean, you might get lucky, but I've never put any, I don't know, any weight behind an MSI. Like, I would never recommend it to somebody.
The fact
I would feel guilty. I would feel guilty the moment they're like, "Yeah, it arrived dead on arrival." Like, oh, good luck. That's gonna be like 2 months, and you're gonna.
That's true. That is true. It's tough to put your money into something that could be a maybe, because okay, I need to RMA that, and the guy at Micro Center's like, "Oh, you need to RMA your 3090? Yeah, you got warranty." Because I just asked him as a hypothetical. He's like, "Yeah, you're probably looking at 4 to 6 months." I'm like, "Oh my god, no!"
And you're gonna pay to ship it back and forth.
Well,
that's why I've always pointed to Asus or EVGA. Honestly, EVGA, I don't go for that as my go-to, but they've never. It's kind of like, I don't know. I guess this argument is kind of like the argument over hard drives. Do I get Western Digital or Seagate or whatever,
or Samsung?
And I remember that Seagate used to have a lot of quality control problems. I never had an issue with a Western Digital drive. I mean, I still have a Western Digital drive from 1995 and it still fires up. So
it's take your poison, man. It depends on the time. Seagate used to be bulletproof and then went to shit. Western Digital obviously was great when Seagate went to shit, and then Western Digital, even to current news, Western Digital right now is in hot freaking water.
Oh, but yeah, I read about that. It was the book drives, the NAS, the online. What do they call them? MyBook, the MyBook drives.
Yeah, MyBook.
They're the external drives that for NAS storage.
Yep, and they just wipe everything overnight.
They're like, "Oops, we left this little code in the thing, and somebody figured out how to activate it over the internet."
Yeah, it wasn't even that. They were like, "Oh, it was a hacker. It was the fucking firmware got corrupt, and they pushed an update, and it fucked everything up everywhere." And their fix is like, unplug it. People are like, just take it off the internet, and they're like, "No, unplug the fucking thing. It's bad. It's real bad."
Bookmark this page for updates.
So yeah, hard drives is, dude, I can go on and on. A hard drive is like, who's good right now? Western Digital black drives are badass. I went Samsung because the Western Digital black drives are spec the same as the Samsung Pros. Yeah, but the Western Digitals are like $30 more. Yeah, because Samsung immediately, Western Digital priced it to what Samsung was, and Samsung's like, "Well, we've been out like 7 months and we're the best of the best, so we'll just knock $30 off." And of course, Western Digital hasn't released a sale yet to make it the same price. But as of when I bought my 980 Pro and 870 Evo Black, they usually
come with 3 or 5 year warranties. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think it's a 5-year.
And good point on the WD Reds. Yeah, for NAS. Yeah, they seem to be bulletproof. And if they do fail, if you got the right RAID configuration, which by the way, if you're doing a NAS network attached storage, you should be in some kind of a RAID configuration.
You should.
The WD Reds are hot swappable. You just literally pop a new drive in and boom, it backs everything up.
And yeah, if you're doing NAS, you better be doing it that route. If you're doing RAID 0 and a drive dumps on you because you got cheap but you wanted extra speed, for those older users that have done RAID 0s because that's how you got fast drives, you're screwed.
Yeah,
Let's do
RAID
0
0,
plus 1 or something like that.
RAID 0. Yeah, any more these days, you really should be running a RAID 10 or better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people still do that shit. They still run a RAID 0, and then they always end up kicking themselves in the ass when their drive fails.
I did that back in the day. I'm guilty. You know,
Hey, but the performance improvement was pretty ridiculous at the time.
Yeah, 5,000 RPM
5400
drives
RPM,
were-
25400 RPM drive suddenly became better than a Raptor.
Yep. Yep. Then that 10,000 RPM drive that sounded like a fucking jet engine in your PC. It would be way better than that. But yeah.
It's like a SCSI 10K.
Yeah, it was like a super scuzzy drive that was just, why is it so loud? I had a buddy that had one, and when he'd fire his PC up, I'm like, is that normal? That's crazy sounding.
I'm used to hearing that. Not the whing.
And you're like, oh shit, is that gonna fly apart? What is that?
I was like,
oh my god.
you remember when the original like CD-ROMs came out? They were slow as shit. There was the 2X, the 4X, the 6X, the 8X,
Yeah.
and then there was the 50X.
It's like pull starting a lawnmower in your PC.
You'd put a CD in those things, and you'd hear this. There's just fucking wind blowing around in your PC.
I remember they said clean the CDs on those because somebody had sticky shit on one CD and it spun it so fast it fucking blew up the CD and the ROM drive. Yeah, that shit was a reality. It happened. And when those blow up, it is like a grenade went off.
Oh man.
So yeah, EVGA is making AMD motherboards.
Right.
We'll see how
That's where
bad-
we were.
Intel. We're gonna get into some Intel shit because Intel had a lot of info this week, and a lot of it was hush hush because they want you to focus on GPUs. So we'll get to that. But
I'm so
for
tired
all
of
you
talking about
Intel
graphics
nerds,
cards.
6th, 7th, 8th gen Intel processors have just disabled TSX. Why? They're really not telling you other than they found Intel, they white papered it from what I've read. And that's basically an internal, we're doing this because TSX has features that can provide better gaming and better throughput. But it's minor, but it's a good feature that people used. And apparently it has a massive security breach that Intel's just like, you know what, we're just going to just get rid of that.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and disable this, and I remember when I read that, I was like, that's got to be because somebody found a way to exploit something.
Which is the name of the game with Intel, because they've been out so long and haven't changed shit. Everyone's going to find all the loopholes.
Yes, another Intel security issue.
Yes.
And the TSX was important mainly for gaming because basically, and I'm going to try to do this as layman as possible, but essentially, when there is a high demand on CPU throughput, the TSX engages and it kind of acts like a dedicated handler. I don't.
Yeah, it's like a throughput controller that helps keep the data stream more even. So it does boost 5 to 10% from what I've seen and read.
I was gonna say at least 5% boost to the clock speed. Like it's almost like it's like, okay, well, this processor needs to handle this amount of calculations, so let's dedicate this and then boost the clock if we need to.
Yeah.
It opens the asshole of your computer and tells people come on in.
I mean, that seems to be what Intel's business strategy is. Nice. But the TSX being eliminated is a big deal that people aren't really upset about. And to hinder a boost clock on an Intel CPU is literally handicapping it, because that's what Intel's claim to fame is 14 nanometer. Oh well, but dude, we can do 4.8 gigahertz. Like that's why it was so good at gaming.
So I've got an Acer Nitro. It's an Acer Nitro 5, and it's got an Intel i5 something. So I'm gonna be interested to see when I run a benchmark on it after this update. Basically, I'm gonna be interested on running a benchmark and seeing how it impacts the actual performance. But I've been relatively surprised that a laptop can do what it has been doing. And that's an Intel chip, and I don't really like Intel. It was just the price was right for the laptop. So,
And I mean, I've got Intel stuff that works great, but it's stuff like this that funneled my decision towards Ryzen. And there was a lot of other reasons, but Intel seems to not be able to have a control over any part of their business, and they've just been losing market share nonstop.
they've been sitting on their hands, man.
Yeah.
They're like we're the market dominance. AMD's never gonna touch us, and they weren't wrong. Like people were like, hey, if you're gonna build a gaming rig, go Intel. You know, you can't go wrong with Intel.
And then Zen happens, and it's like, oh, it does some really cool shit, but gaming. And then 3 generations later, Ryzen's like, yeah, we got gaming. And Intel looks back and they're like, but we have
14
we don't have
nanometer
anything.
chips.
We don't have anything left. Ryzen's so much better at everything else.
They slept at the wheel, and it's grossly disappointing that Intel did not see that coming. And here's the fallout. You know, they're catching up on the TSX has been around for what, like over a decade now?
Oh yeah, it's been over a decade for sure. You're talking 6th gen CPUs.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
yeah.
a big hit.
So I mean, that's a whole range of chips that are getting nerfed.
Yeah. And I know we're on 11th gen, arguably, because if you really talk about generations, it's pretty much renaming new sockets and spend more money. But
10 900K, 11 900K, 900K, 8900K.
we're running out of numbers.
10 500K. What the fuck is a 10 500K? Don't you mean 12, or don't you mean like 10,500,000? But no, we're sitting here saying 10 500K. Like, what the fuck is the naming convention for?
An 1199 or whatever. Yeah. But yet again, Intel just can't catch a break. So what about these? Intel quietly delays its next generation Sapphire Rapids Xeon processors. Goddamn. Here we go. The fucking businesscape, the Xeon is screwed. Damn it, Intel. They delayed it another year, and this is another quiet announcement. Intel just can't catch a freaking break. And they're trying to, this isn't like, oh, it's going to be that great, wait another year. No, this is, oh shit, we got major problems. This is a 10 nanometer process, by the way. So historically, Intel debuted this 10 nanometer shit, what, over a year ago? Yeah, a year and a half ago.
It was about a year ago.
And we've only seen select laptop CPUs come with 10 nanometer. And of course, they're mobile. They're very declocked. They're very anemic.
It's so amazing and ultimate.
But
insane.
It can just so small, but so big.
So, but you see, this is a standard CPU, but look at how small ours are. It's so small. It's insane.
It's biblical.
Was that Razer laptop an Intel laptop, by the way? No. They put in a they had a 3080 version
It was
of
a
that.
Zen 3.
So it is a Zen 3. Okay, yeah. So it's AMD. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're not completely stupid. They just have the best hype guy in the industry on
Dude,
it.
that hype guy, I want him to come to my birthday party.
Yes, dude. We will have the most extreme birthday
It's gonna be
ever.
extreme. It's gonna be the most ultimate birthday ever, man. Blow your brains out of the back of your skull all over your mother.
But your friends will be so blown away by how small and extreme it is.
How small and extreme the party is. Oh no.
Oh my
Anyways, hype guy for Razer.
Intel would probably hire you right now.
You should probably be hired by Intel, but more importantly, contact me about my birthday party this year.
For real, I'll chip in on that. I want some super extreme Phil birthday action.
Oh man, so small.
The smallest,
So small.
but the most extreme.
The smallest, most insane and extreme.
Oh man. So yeah, these next gen 10 nanometer Xeon processors are delayed till first quarter of 22, which tells me it may not be first quarter of 22. We're facing multiple issues. They've not made anything public. It could just be the damn 10 nanometer process is causing yield concerns, because you have to think TSMC is now on 5 and 4 and 2 nanometer, and even scratching the surface on 1 nanometer chips right now. So I believe TSMC said in the outside of the mobile platform, it's pretty much like 70 or so percent is based on the 5 nanometer and 7 nanometer process. So 7 nanometer. And Intel takes up that other lion's share of 14. And so 10 really is ignored. Ryzen didn't really even do 10. I'm sure somebody can prove me wrong, but not to any sort of mainstay. But TSMC is like really not supporting 14 because it's a shitty yield and it's been done before, and Intel is spending major royalties on these chips. That's why they're not super cheap, because they're selling them at a loss. I guarantee you Intel is not making any money on this stuff. They're relying on their business architecture to keep them afloat, and their stock price has fallen pretty substantial. Frank and I looked it up earlier. It was pretty pitiful. But Intel is having major issues everywhere, and they have now officially alluded to a GPU launch coming soon. Where this is pretty crazy is, yeah, we all poop all over Intel, but this is one area where I'm truly trying to stay positive, because if their DG1 chip that is out in pre-builds that is hard to get, but some reviewers have gotten these in pre-builds. So this is full retail, and it's passive, and this GPU actually does pretty well at 1080p gaming. You have to declock sample the game to low settings, but it's a passive GPU. We haven't seen passive GPUs in a long
Decock it. Yeah, you got to decock it.
Decack it. And but seriously, for what little this card costs, the pre-build,
that's the one with the aluminum plate on it. It doesn't have a active cooling on it.
No fan. And it can game in today's games. That's what's crazy. And this is DG1. The DG2 is the big boy.
I like how you just said it can actually play games, like current games. It can actually do that.
Is that not crazy? Somebody coming out into the GPU industry and it's playing current games on a pre-built budget PC? That's kind of nuts. You have to take a win, and that's a weird win, but it is a win. Intel can't even make a friggin' processor worth of shit, but they're going to make a GPU? What if their DG2 is decently comparable to a 3070 for like $300-$400? That would destroy the budget market. And Intel and Nvidia and AMD would have to answer that. Now, granted, ignoring stock level, ignoring chip issues, that could be a game changer. Well, even if Intel doesn't do the high-end gaming, if they can focus on budget to mid-grade, that's where the money is. That's where the decisions are made, not 3090s, not 6900 XTs. It's the 3070s, it's the 3060s, it's the 6400, whatever the AMD version is that Frank was looking at. Obviously, we're Nvidia fanboys here, but AMD is releasing new drivers, and their cards are doing better. Every month they're doing better. So if things went back to MSRP, the stories would be pretty interesting right now. But because they're not, it's all over the friggin' place, and crypto mining is still happening, scalping is still happening, but changes are happening.
I'm glad you brought that up, because there was when Nvidia did their thing and they basically were nerfing their cards to stop crypto mining, there was a crash in the market on Bitcoin, or on cryptocurrency in general, really.
Yep.
Which was interesting to me.
Did you see what China did last week?
No.
Yeah, China basically outlawed all crypto mining completely.
Okay, so there's another contribution.
Yep. Yeah. China dictated the market pretty substantially. So it's not just like frowned upon. It's illegal as hell. And China, when you break the law, like, you gotta be real careful. If you got, tens of thousands invested in a mining rig that's sucking a bunch of power from the grid, and the law enforcement finds you, you might be killed. Like, it's not go to jail for a month. It's you might die. So that's a big deal.
Fuck you, Frank.
Oh God, what are you doing? I got a 20 right here. Oh Jesus.
Sorry, he was asking me. He was like, "I got a pie project. Build me a GMSR, whatever repeater."
Jesus.
There's
Frank
like
and his freaking radio
limited
shit.
applications for needing something like that, and you want me to do it? Like it's a project? Well, you got to pay me, sir. $20. Jesus Christ!
Oh my
It's gonna be a running joke until we die.
Yeah, and you're gonna get bitch slapped at some point, Frank. It's coming. You keep bringing it up, dude. It's not helping.
Oh
you.
my God, that just reminded me. So I was so excited to do this. So my nephew really loves The Office, and so we were at my niece's birthday party or whatever, and I was like, we're just sitting at the table, just hanging out, and I was like, knock knock. He goes, who's there? I was like, KGB, and he goes, KGB, and I was able to slap him and be like, Viva, ask the questions.
Show me your papers.
I don't know what that had to do with anything that was going on, but
That's awesome, though.
it just clicked in my head. I was like, oh my God, it was so great. I finally got to pull it off.
Been waiting for that for years.
It's like I've been saving up for that moment.
I can respect that. But
Anyway.
the Intel DG2 GPU. So they're saying the DG2 GPU paired with the 14 core 20 thread Alder Lake CPU has already been spotted.
It sounds beefy.
Yeah, but that's Alder Lake. That's Intel. F that. The point being, there's 256 execution units, clock speed up to 1400 megahertz, 8 gigabits, 8 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory. But the benchmark model,
not GDDR,
not X, just
6.
GDDR6,
Right.
which is what comes on the AMD cards. So 18,482 points compared to 18,895 for the GTX 1050. So this is the DG1 card. This is the budget passive cooled card that is comparable to the GTX 1050. That sounds horrible 3 generations ago. I get it, but if this card in a full-blown gaming capacity can compare to a 3070, even for the same price, you have competition. In competition, somebody just comes out of the gate with real competition. What do you think the next 2 years look like? They're going to start hurting that competition, especially if Intel does what they've been doing and just slashing prices, trying to get market share back.
Well, they're trying to offload their stock, basically.
Absolutely. They're offload stock as well as try to be relevant again, because they have to be a player to somewhat support their multi-trillion-dollar industry here. So Intel has a lot to lose, but in this right, they have only to gain. Even if their best graphics card is like $300 and it's a nice mid-grade card, like comparable to a 3060, whoa, shit, that's a big problem for NVIDIA and AMD. I'm hoping for that. I'm hoping Intel makes something good. Realistically, they probably aren't. Whatever. But we'll see what Intel does. We're looking at the next couple weeks for their official debut. They've kind of released some stuff out there, but I don't think a date's been set yet. But Intel is pretty proud.
So interesting point that Hitter of Gnomes brought up here. If they make any availability in the market, Intel can survive. I don't disagree with that. However, the problem is Intel's a little slow on the uptake because the graphics cards are about to flood the market. So we're actually reaching a point where we're going to have over availability in general. Production companies are back online. They're running at 100%, if not 110% capacity. We're gonna see.
Mining rigs dump everything for a good price, even if it's MSRP right now. That's a good price,
Right.
and even though they're used, we'll figure out a system of how to test a graphics card for like degraded RAM performance, shit like that. But if it works and we're able to buy these graphics cards with some sort of, I don't know, believability, if that's a word, yeah, the market's going to turn upside down on graphics cards. And Intel has another freaking obstacle because they're great at timing. Let's just be honest. Intel's great at timing. They're going to come out with the latest and greatest, and everything's going to be cheap and available, and they're going to be screwed. That's kind of how they do this.
They're gonna. I was like, they're gonna come up with all this shit. They're like, oh, Intel makes GPUs. Now, here's what I do. What I would like to find or like see happen is if Intel like floods these GPUs out, I would like to see them like kind of give AMD a what for about it. Like where AMD doesn't get to sit on its laurels and be like, oh, we are the best GPU makers in the world. We've got, the 3080, the whatevers. And actually have a fight, because Intel's always kind of owned the CPU market. AMD finally is coming around to the GPU market, but meh.
Yeah, this is Gen 2 Radeon.
Yeah.
Realistically, they're fighting pretty good because NVIDIA released shit a lot cheaper, and they've never done that, by the way.
And
They have
NVIDIA,
a big performance leap.
NVIDIA came and it was a big swing when they released, or not, AMD didn't have the 30. Sorry, I misspoke. But what I was getting at was that NVIDIA has kind of owned the GPU market. AMD has always kind of been the CPU market, not quite as good as Intel. Intel's always kind of owned the CPU market. So it would be cool to see a race between these three companies developing new
GPU
chips and components and processors for all, not just CPU, but also GPU at the same time.
Because now we laugh at 4K, but if 4K is a reality and I can get a graphics card that's $600 and it's damn good for 4K, I'm probably going to buy me a 4K monitor and have at it. I know I'm speaking from a little bit opposite of the spectrum here, but the fact is, if you make 4K gaming livable in daily environments for normal gamers, that's a big deal. Because you can throw a lot more polygons, you can throw a lot more 8K assets at these games, and Unreal Engine 5, all this shit can actually be taxed. And these GPUs moving true generational leaps is all competition. It's all great. Another player in the game is going to be good. If it's player in the game.
4K. So my dad just recently picked up a 55-inch 4K TV, OLED. I forget the model. It's an LG. And it has for the room size, you would think it's a bit much. But when you walk away from it and you're like standing across the room, like, I don't know, 15, 20 feet away, it looks really damn good. Like you can pick out everything. Like it's like the first time watching a 1080p flick, like you were just like blown away the fact that you could see pores in people's faces and stuff like that. So
I remember that.
It'll be interesting to see how 4K evolves. I think it's going to become standard, obviously. But
then 8K's in the future. I don't know why we need 8K, but if you could tax 4K native to true assets, that's crazy. Because we can watch 1080p on Netflix and be blown away, but 1080p's been out for ever. But 1080p now is true 1080p, is true, HDR. Like 1080p looks fucking great. You don't need a 4K TV to be blown away. But if you could take full advantage of 4K, full advantage.
Well,
that would be mind blowing.
I know we've done this argument back and forth.
Sorry, I did it again.
but the whole idea that so for a 4K television, I mean, you got to be looking at least 60 to 70 inches still. Like I still believe that. So 8K,
agreed.
If we go into like an 8K scenario, you better have a screen of like at least 100. That would be like bare minimum screen size just to justify 8K resolution, because everything else is just compressed pixels. I mean, you're just running your stuff. It's like you're just, I don't know, you're just wasting pixels. There was a word in my head. It's gone now.
Sorry, I farted, so I'm totally lost. I feel better though.
I'm glad you feel better.
Speaking of being lost, this Windows 11 minimum PC requirements is causing quite the stir. So I'll just go through the actual specs. Processor 1 gigahertz or faster, two or more cores on compatible 64-bit processor. 64-bit, there's a key ingredient. RAM 4 gigs, that's a big deal. Storage 64 gigs or larger, what the fuck ever. System firmware, TPM version 2.0, whatever. graphics card compatible DirectX 12 or later with WDDM2 driver. That's a big deal. A lot of people are reading this stuff and seeing, okay, well, I got that. Well, when it's Windows. So think of all of the businesses, governments, all of this that have minimal spec shit from 10, 20 years ago, still running Windows 10 barely, and now Windows 11's dumping, and that's going to be a problem. So you're talking billions and billions of dollars that are happening overnight, because Windows 11 is obviously going to increase the certificate securities, all of these things that are going to make it impossible for Windows 10 to be a thing in the near future. Granted, this is new, but within 5 years, you're going to have to upgrade to Windows 11 as a business. It's just what it's going to be. But what's hitting the news really hard right now is Microsoft had to answer today on CPU, authorized CPUs that are supported. And Ryzen Zen 1 wasn't on that list. That's not old. Zen 1 processors are not old. Intel is one thing where...
10, well, I mean, Zen 1 is about, what, 10 years?
I don't think so. I thought it was like 8, maybe?
8 years. 8 sounds right.
But you're thinking this was blistering edge 8 years ago, which businesses generally wait another 2-3 years to go into the next gen.
Right.
So it's not that long ago. You're talking businesses upgraded 5 years ago.
Oh, shit. I totally fucked up. That's 20. So it was 2016 that it was demonstrated. 2017 was the first time it was really out.
4 years ago. Holy shit.
Yeah. 5 years? 5 years. Ish.
17?
Yeah, February of 17 was when they were first debuted. 2016 was when they were actually, I said that wrong. 2016 was when they were debuted and actually showcased. 2017 was when they actually started coming out.
So it's 2021. So that's a smidge over 4 years.
5 years. 5 years.
Is my math
we're past February. It's now, I don't know, fucking July apparently.
So not that many years ago, which business-wise, you have to think they're 3 years behind on average. That's businesses that upgraded 3 years ago are screwed. So Windows is having to scramble to authorize and support Ryzen Zen 1, and Intel same way. They go back XYZ years. But for Windows 11 not to just be like a flash on top of Windows 10 and not that much different, but their supported CPU list, it's pretty aggressive. I know 4 gigs of RAM, whatever, 1 gigahertz or faster, that means nothing. But 64-bit processor, that's kind of a thing. And
dude, I remember when Windows Vista came out, and it would be uncommon to have 4 gigabytes of RAM in that system. Yeah. And Vista takes like a
just completely destroyed 4 gigs. Right?
Yeah, it would destroy 4 gigs. And then now we're like, okay, now so Windows 11 is coming out. And it's 8 gigs is becoming the standard minimum at least. 16 recommended. And then I've already gone above that. I was like, dude, fuck that. You need 32 gigs now because it's very quickly approaching us that the games are going to start trying to utilize 16 gigs. Sorry. So Windows 11 makes me nervous because they're like, oh, we made some visual updates. And I'm like, great. You mean you're sucking RAM for no reason?
Yep. So, and Billy and I were talking about this before you joined on, Phil, pre-stream. We were just like, hey, Billy, how much RAM are you utilizing right now? Just running OBS, some internet shit in the background. And Billy was at like 9. And obviously I'm just participating OBS, so I'm not taxing anything. And I was running just some Chrome tabs open and shit, and I was almost 8. That's Diablo. So that right there says 8 gigs. I'm not doing anything, and I'm using over 8 gigs. Billy's not doing much, and he's using 9+ gigs. Yeah. But this is like my baseline
12.
So 12. 16 gigs when you chunk a game on top of just your normal internet shit going in the background. 16 is kind of becoming ish, and
it's starting to approach the cap.
Yeah. That's
And-
kind of crazy.
I was thinking of this because of what Hater of Gnomes was saying, but back pre-Vista, back in the days of Windows 2000, this was when Windows 2000 was hot shit.
Or XP.
Oh god.
Oh god, I love XP. Sorry.
Diablo 2 required 32 megabytes of RAM. 32 megabytes. And 600 megabytes of hard drive space, which at the time was massive.
Yes.
It was
I remember back when Diablo 2 was a thing, I had a gig of RAM and I was the shit.
Oh yeah, you were
excuse me, my family computer had a gig of RAM. We overdid it, and we spent a shit ton on that.
you were the top nerds.
Yeah, for a
All your
minute.
cool little geeky shit. You would have been like the house I would show up to and then just be like, yeah, you fancy fucks.
And I'd be like, go ahead and sit down and play Diablo 2, and you'd be like, all right.
I do want to put this on my PC and run it in DOSBox and see.
Oh, that would be so sick.
just to like the key is right there and everything. Like I just
You know it's gonna not
how
emulate
cool
right
would it be
and
to hear
run
my
crazy.
CD-ROM fire up and then to hear system fire up for the first time again. Stay a while and listen, and just fucking and it still has the year 2000 compliant thing
If you
on.
get it to work, you need to stream that.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Diablo 2 is the shit. Diablo back then was so good. But this Windows 11 issue, it's becoming a major point of contention, and Windows 11's not out yet. We did this same shit with Vista, did the same shit with 8. Not so much 8, but Vista for sure.
8.1.
8.1, excusez-moi. But yeah, Windows is coming out with the latest and greatest and screwing a lot of people over and companies out the yin-yang. That's opposite their business strategy.
Oh man, Windows Me, get out of here. Millennium Edition.
Fucking ME. That's why what was it? Windows, what was it before ME? That
Windows
everyone
Home? Something Windows
NE, what was
There was Windows ME
NT. That's
and then
what
there
it
was NT, but NT was built on
the
business models. It was like
Mhm.
enterprise solution network.
it worked
Blah, 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 blah.
perfectly. Yes.
And
NT
Windows
was the shit
Windows
until XP Pro.
NT, yeah, Windows NT ended up becoming what we know as Windows 2000. And for a long time I stayed on Windows 2000. Like
Yep.
I didn't even want to touch Windows 7.
Yep.
Like, I was
Yeah.
like, I'm
Oh, I
totally
was-
okay with my Windows 2000 computer.
I was
after-
2000
Vista,
until XP
Vista, yeah,
Pro,
yeah.
and then XP Pro to 8.1. Like I waited a long time with XP Pro.
Jehoshaphat
Which
is
was-
here.
Ooh.
I think Jehoshaphat might recognize this.
Vista,
And
Windows Longhorn.
and it's still all there. The only thing I can't find is my copy of RC Pro Am. I need to work on that.
Yeah, XP Pro. I would totally do XP Pro if I could get away with it in 64-bit.
Some dickhead spilled Dr. Pepper on this thing. I don't know who did that, but I'm pretty sure it's Dr. Pepper. It's definitely not cum.
Hard to tell with that many years.
Well, it's dark, it's brown, and I'm pretty sure it's Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, we'll go with Dr. Pepper. That's just way better.
Uh-oh. Anyways,
Yeah.
I forgot Vista was so horrid. How do you forget that?
That literally broke everything.
XP Pro is still a beast. Get the fuck out of here, hater of gnomes. No, it's not. Windows 2000, Windows NT was top of the line. Windows 7 came out when I found out that it was finally stable. I was actually okay with Windows 7. I was really pissed off that I had to upgrade to Windows 10 just to run some things. Thankfully, Windows 10 has not been as bad as I thought it would be. But yeah, I remember sticking to Windows 2000 for ages.
And I mean, it's bulletproof. Took up no space, and it was so fast. Even for shit in the day, a fresh install. Whoa!
Fast and
My computer
amazing.
was crazy fast.
Fast and amazing at networking. Like it just out of the gate, it just worked.
Yep.
Yeah. Me and Vista made me love XP. Oh, your life has been so weird, Hater Films. It's
still
so
love
weird.
XP. XP still has a place in my heart.
I guess you guys are weird.
Yeah, I'm okay. If that's what I'm weird for, I'm all right. Yeah, so back to the RAM discussion. If you're going to build a PC or buy a PC, 32 gigs is where you need to be. 16 works. Don't get me wrong.
16 gigabits is safe. 32 gigabytes is preparing yourself.
I would say,
Yeah.
in my opinion, I would say that 16
128
gigabytes.
gig.
16 gigabytes is good for your average gamer, average, whatnot for the next.
Yeah,
few years.
if you're
But if you're planning on streaming or something like that, definitely go to
32, yeah, for sure. Well, and even I mean, if you're building a computer because you want to check email and browse the internet, fucking 8 gigabytes of RAM is fine. Yeah, because all your, I mean, it's like it feels so weird to say that because 8 gigabytes of RAM back in the day just to browse the internet and read email.
Oh, it was so ludicrous.
Overkill. Absolute overkill. Like Nutscrape Navigator was gonna run just fine. Like I don't know. It just blows my mind that like we talk in terms of scales of gigabytes where, I grew up where like a 1 gigabyte was insane. 333 megahertz, Pentium 2 processor. Holy shit. Like screaming fast processing ability. No longer needed the turbo button.
The fucking turbo button. Yes.
Like, it was like we finally got away from the turbo button. It's like some games run better from 386 to 486. You have to push the turbo button just to get them to kind of cooperate.
Dude, I watched the NVIDIA historical thing of generational leaps, like the top 6 generational leap graphics cards for NVIDIA.
Yeah.
And dude, it brought me back. It was such a good video. Check it out on YouTube. It's pretty new. It covers a lot of cool shit. And if you built gaming PCs over the years, you'll be like, oh yeah, I had that. Oh yeah. I said that a couple times where I'm like, yeah, the box sitting over there has that GPU in it. That's pretty awesome.
I feel like we talked about this last week, but I remember when my mom got that gateway computer with the MMX technology and it was 1 gigabyte hard drive and I could play StarCraft. And
dude,
I was like, oh, this is so awesome.
The video brought up like 3D, was it 3D Mark? No, 3D Effect. But the NVIDIA counterpart, the other company making video cards, and then they bought them, and that's when Radeon hit the scene.
I was going to say, are you talking about the RTI series, like the Voodoos?
Nope. Before that, NVIDIA, when they first came out, had one competitor. It was 3D Mark, 3D Effect. I can't remember.
Well, there was Sound Blaster. Sound Blaster came out with a 3D Mark card.
That's creative. No, I'm not talking sound card.
Creative.
I'm talking there was 2 graphics card manufacturers out there. NVIDIA was one, and 3DX or something was the other. And they bought them right as ATI hit the scene with Sapphire.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the ATA Radeon Sapphire series.
Yep.
That's a really good point. Hardware capability is allowed for larger frameworks of less efficient code. When OSs started hitting millions of lines of code, hardware was the only solution, and we lost the bang for our buck.
There's a lot of truth to that. And I'm not saying it's 100% the God's honest truth, but yes, we use horsepower to fight through shit code. That's why I'm using 8 gigs of RAM for just internet surfing.
I think part of it is inefficient code, and the other part of it is just the assets, right? So we've started taking large. So when you would think about the days of Doom 2, right, that you were rendering wall textures at 16 by 16 pixels or something like that. I think it was 16 by 16 or 8 by 8, and now we're rendering high resolution textures at like 1080p. So like all of those assets have inflated the storage requirements to make them just
that. But when I surf the internet, you go on a news page and there's like scrolling 1080p YouTube videos in the background is ads or recommended something that runs in the background.
All the bullshit that you don't even care about that's back there.
All that
I know
shit.
a good way to get rid of that.
I do too, but I was on my work computer.
Dude, it doesn't matter if it's your work computer. The Pi-hole is an absolute separate entity on your network. You just
Yeah.
remap your DNS settings to run through your Pi hole, and boom, ads are gone.
Anybody that connects to my internet.
Still looks like it's on your normal internet.
Yeah, what if you're through VPN and a other company's internet?
I mean, just put the Pi hole before the VPN, and you're fine.
Okay. Yeah, I might need to leverage
Because
you on that one.
basically you're using the Pi hole as a gateway to your outside access, right? So as long as you engage the Pi hole before you hit the VPN, they don't fucking know. That's why it's a VPN.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Very true.
Those jerkmate ads are probably a gig a piece. Yeah, exactly. And high resolution advertisement on your web browser is bullshit. This is why hashtag not a sponsor. I promote the Brave browser because it knocks a lot of that shit in the dirt right out of the gate. Where am I at now? Let's see. 985,000 trackers and ads blocked, 25 gigabytes of bandwidth saved, 13.7 hours of time saved not loading bullshit.
I'm saying yours is not as high as mine. Mine's 440,000 trackers and ads blocked, 5.6 gigs of bandwidth saved, 6.1 hours of time saved.
Yeah, that's a lot of bullshit traffic.
Yeah. Plus,
Yeah.
my Pi hole is like, it's like at 90,000.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that one. Jehoshaphat, PF blocker and blocker NG is also a fantastic blocker. Yes, it is. I totally forgot about PF blocker NG. It works on the same. It basically works on the same principle as a Pi hole. What were we talking about?
I don't know. You guys have any closing thoughts before we rate it up?
I'm gonna see if I can't get Diablo 2, the original, to run. I don't want to show you my CD key because I don't want you to steal my shit.
That's right. I totally will. I'll totally feel that shit.
I gotta see if I can get this playing on a modern PC and DOSBox. That would just be amazing if this actually
Speaking
worked.
of CD keys, freaking EA screwed me hard. I bought Battlefront 2 on Amazon, and the key that they gave me was already used. So after emailing EA, going on the forums, this shit and that shit, I was so pissed off and wanted to play Battlefront 2 that just went on Steam and bought it for even cheaper than Amazon. And Steam backdoored into the Origin app from EA, and it found my original copy that I couldn't get to. And what do you know? My second copy of Battlefront 2 works fine. God damn you, EA.
I've said it for years. EA sucks fucking donkey dick. Excuse my language. I'm gonna send this raids to start saying closing remarks and stuff.
Every time I hear EA, I just am like,
I wanted to play Battlefront 2
It's
so
in the
bad.
game.
Damn it.
It's in the game.
It's in the D-hole is what it
It's
is.
It's in the.
It's not in the game though because they don't know how to do a game.
It's in the loot box.
Hey, sports. It's in the game.
It's in the repeat box. Like let's pull out one of our old games. Oh, let's put some shiny new graphics on it, and it still has the same damn bugs the old game.
It's in the microtransactions.
It's in the microtransactions and loot crates.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna raid Danny Suva. Oh, nice. Danny Suva is awesome as hell. Hell yeah. So, anyways, closing remarks. Jeff, go ahead. I guess we hurry up though.
Okay. Windows 11 sucks. I'm gonna avoid it for a little while. Yeah. Hope Intel makes good GPUs, and competition is great. Thank you.
And as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I guess we'll see you next week. If I'm alive, I'm on vacation. I might die. I might die. I've been left to my devices, and I've been drinking a lot of really shitty beer.
Woo.
Anyways, bye.
Thank you all.
Still got a few seconds.
Oh, thank you, everybody.
Jeff
We
likes
love
to
you.
poop. Frank shits his pants.
EA still sucks.
Pyro's cool. Billy's all right.
Apparently, I'm innocent. Bye.
Yeah, he's in his bye.
Nice.